I want to know whether you'll be able to tweet while you're speaking to us.
I did tweet while I was taking notes. So I seem to have drawn a short straw. We said the rules were that you couldn't write the report and give the report, and apparently we're a bunch of rebels, so we're breaking the rules. So, okay, or a bunch of radicals, someone called us yesterday on the tweet stream. Okay, so community, there's a certain amount of overlap with some of the others. I missed some of them because I was writing this stuff up. We started off talking about some people have communities online whilst others seek to be a member of what's already online. So what's the different approaches? Are members, are the people who are founding it looking to leave some kind of legacy, whereas members maybe are looking to be part of a community rather than any kind of recognition? And I said, earnest Christians go into Second Life because they've read it's important, but don't really understand how it works, set up something inappropriate, or maybe abandon their congregation there. This isn't necessarily everyone, but this is something that can happen, has been seen. And we were talking about, is it a replacement for something that is meant to exist in the real world, and are we creating something out of frustration from missing a real church? When Jesus was discipling others, it was face-to-face because he didn't have the internet, so how would Jesus have used the internet? And it kind of goes back to the question of what is digital space. If the internet's lots of cables, then it's a means of communication which follows on with other real world stuff. But if it's a space, then symbolically we're maybe creating new creations, and what's that saying about the world that God has already created? Shouldn't we be trying to deal with that broken world rather than create a new world that's brilliant or something? I think I struggled to write that one. Don't want online church to replace normal church, but it has an important place. Most going to the online churches also go to real churches. And then we said, but we're talking about very specific communities here. And what about the online world as a whole? What about engaging in the bigger communities which exist? So we need to seek out and interact with those and how best to do it. So we really need to understand what kind of communities these really are, things like Facebook. Understand what kind of people use them, what kind of debates they're engaging with, and then engage with those people. In a real generic community, so we're talking about Facebook and things like that, again we're saying people share real joys and frustrations, and it's not appropriate to thrust your faith in people's faces, but as it's part of your underlying worldview, it's probably going to come through somehow anyway. What would Jesus do? Where is he going? What communities would he be engaging with? Would he be on the suicide boards talking to people who are thinking about committing suicide and sort of helping talk them through? Would he be playing Warcraft? There's lots of Christians preaching against Warcraft, but very few actually playing in there and engaging with it, and the same with Second Life, tend to be in little holy huddles. But these communities are very attractional communities, so why aren't we thinking about ways of whether we can do that in real life churches? Facebook, a great place to build relationships in between meeting people in real places. How about using things like LinkedIn, going on political party forums, playing online games? In the real world, if you're running some kind of youth group, you'll go to bowling alleys and things like that to have fun, community and relationships together. So why not online gaming? And we said maybe there's a chance for serious discussion, but be careful when you do it. Just as someone's about to kill the enemy, do you say, have I told you about Jesus? Love your enemies. Or where's the dragon? Oh, he's leading the Second Life sermon. Something like that. So we got slightly sidetracked there. And it said many Christians are socially and emotionally illiterate and tend to be the same online. Guys, I'm just kind of reporting. This isn't necessarily me. And then we were talking about Twitter. You may have noticed I tweet quite a lot. And a lot of that is I just tweet about what I'm interested in. So some of the time that will be talking about Christianity, some of the time we're talking about posters, some of the time other people will be talking about football, not me really. So you end up with a jumble of conversations rather than saying, oh, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, it must be time for my God tweet. It's just a natural part of what you're tweeting about. And we said, will the internet sum up everything you look at regularly? And what about the link or dichotomy between communicating as an individual if you're also part of an institution? Where do the two cross over? A lot of what we're doing in the real world mirrors what's happening online and vice versa. There's community groups such as Podnosh up in Birmingham enhancing local democracy through online engagement. And an online community in King's Cross where if your car gets stolen you won't call the police, you'll go on the website and say, has anyone seen my car? about churches having community online. It might be probably difficult in a small church. You need a critical mass of probably about 40 people, of which you need at least about 20 to be really active for it to really work. Every time you create something new, you make the problem worse, not better, so don't reinvent things. Careful about cross-marketing, so like some of us are cross-linked in hundreds of different ways, and you put something up and it comes up in your Facebook feed and your YouTube feed, and you get 8 times the same person saying the same thing. It's a bit frustrating. But it's like the real world, so it's thinking about how those relationships change, drawbacks and benefits, get to learn a virtual body language with people you're chatting to, take time to get to know each other, and then right at the end we said, what is the notion of community and this emphasis we're having in the conversation on being deep? And what does that say about the church saying we should be deep? And what about those more random connections that I love? Is that a good sum up?
Thank you very much, Bex. That's your sum up. That's great.
Thank you for that, and thank you to all those who facilitated those conversations.